Alright, the second story of the day. This video is also sponsored by David Wafula, a Kenyan citizen and a patriot. Africa should now have leaders, not dictators, because when Africa is continuing to have dictators, it's not going to grow, it's never going to reach anywhere. It is my desire that a time will come when we shall kick out all the dictators who are in Africa, because dictators do what they want, and they would impose rules and principles and force people to do things that they don't want to do, whether it's good or it's bad. A leader who is a dictator might force anything on you, and you have to follow or you have to do it. So I think that we need to start getting rid of dictators. President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda is a real dictator, because the things he's doing in Uganda sometimes are not good things, because he is a kind of a person who really he's really a prick. I don't know how to really define him, but he is really a bad leader, because when you get to a point of arresting the opposition leaders of the government, and like the opposition leader or in your country, and anytime anybody who is an opposition leader comes out and speaks about something that is not right, you take them and arrest them and take them to court. If they cannot be arrested by the court, you arrest them or you abduct them, you take them somewhere. You really like make them suffer, or even like sometimes some of them are even like they're threatened they would be killed. Okay, that is something that is very bad. And African president, the African king, would never want that to happen. And I don't think if he feels good when he still hears that some African leaders are dictators to that extent. This one reminds me when the African king, when I say African king, all of you know who I mean. It's Ibrahim Traore. Recently, when African king said that he allows anybody to come to him and correct him whenever he makes a mistake. If he makes a mistake, everybody or anybody should come to him and tell him, you know what, Mr. President, here and here you messed up and you have to change. He will listen to that person and he will change, because he is a servant. He is not a boss. Bosses are the people that he is leading. People who gave him that job to do for them. They are the bosses. So whenever they correct him, he has to listen to them and he has to ask for the way forward, so they can be able to tell him the way forward. What a leader. That is a very wonderful and a very nice and a sweet leader we have in Africa. That's the African president. He's the African president. Now, on the other hand, we are having a President Yoweri Museveni who, when he messes up, or rather when he does a mistake in his country, when you go and try to correct him, you will not like it, because that guy will arrest you, or rather he will take you to court, or he will beat you up, using the policemen to beat you up and do all sorts of things. Okay, beat the hell out of you and tell you to never to ever speak against the government anymore. So yesterday, Bobi Wine, one of the opposition leaders, the other day, Kizza Besigye was arrested. Okay, was arrested by the government, and yesterday, Bobi Wine was threatened by the military, the head of the military, the head of the military of Uganda. He's called Muhoozi. Now, Muhoozi is the head of the military of Uganda, but he is also the son of the president of Uganda. So Yoweri Museveni, the president of Uganda, took his son and gave him the position of leading the military. So anything his father says, he follows. Anything his father says, he follows, because he is the first son of that man. So if his father tells him to do anything, he does it. He listens to his father. Okay? You're talking about corruption in Africa. This is the biggest corruption I've ever seen. Okay? Because what I'm hearing and what I'm told is that the government of Uganda is full of family members. The government of Yoweri Museveni is full of the family members, left, right, center. Family members. That's the most corrupt government I've ever seen. Okay? It's only that maybe people don't want to talk about it, or people cannot talk about it, but it's one of the biggest, one of the most corrupt countries, governments I have seen so far. Therefore, Muhoozi threatened that he will cut the head of Bobi Wine, cut his head down, the head of Bobi Wine, because Bobi Wine tried to speak against his father. Okay? And Bobi Wine came out and said, you know what? If I do not fear your father, who are you to fear? He told them that if the government is doing wrong, it has to be addressed. Many times I have been beaten up because of speaking against the government. Many times I have been threatened. Many times I've been taken. I've been abducted. Okay, I have been pressed. I've gone through pain under the government of your father because of speaking against his bad ruling and his bad leadership. And I'm used to it. So I don't even fear your father. If I don't fear your father, who are you, Muhoozi, for me to fear? Here's the tape.
Somebody also asked me about Muhoozi's tweet yesterday, threatening to cut off my head, and also warning police that they will face it rough if they don't arrest anybody criticizing the criminality of his father and their family, talking about how much his father is a thief and him as a murderer, and warning DPCs who don't arrest people who say that truth. That was some time ago. I've never stopped saying the truth. I've not seen any DPC yet. Kati mweba DPC mutia anze wa mutia Muhoozi. I want to say that clearly, that we don't take these threats for granted. We don't take the threats lightly. For example, when he said that he would cut off my head, this is a person, regardless of what he has drunk, he is the commander of our armed forces. He's the chief of armed forces and a son to the dictator. And we know, we who read history, we've seen the sons of dictators and how they've behaved, not only in Africa but all over the world. So I don't take those threats lightly. I know that the same person has commanded an operation that abducted our people. Many of them have never been seen again. I know that this is the same person that personally tortured our friend Kakwenza Rukirabasaije. So I don't take those threats lightly. But I want to tell you, Muhoozi, I don't fear you, man. I don't. I can't be intimidated by these criminals. If I don't fear your father, then what about you? I just ignore you because you're not worth responding to. We are dealing with a bigger dictator, and by extension, dealing with you. So, the world watches everything. They know where I stay. I don't move with guns. I move alone. Mera magere. Okay? Nandi agado kumula bakonge mondu za zikieko na aziteka wali. Nagamba. Right? Anyway.
You see, if I do not fear your father, who are you for me to fear? Okay? So, I am urging like all the African people and African presidents and African leaders to just lead people in the right way and accept corrections, because it gets to a point when if you're not ready to accept corrections, then you're not ready to lead, because people want to see a leader. People do not want to see someone who is dictating over them. People don't want to see a corrupt person. People don't want to see people who is taking their resources away, like the way Ruto has been doing the other time, a Kenyan president with Hemedi. You see, people want a leader who is going to lead them and to make their lives successful, to make their lives better. Like what Ibrahim is doing in Burkina Faso. Look at Burkina Faso today. Every person in Burkina Faso today, they are very happy with the leadership of Ibrahim Traore. 100%, all of them. You cannot see any other, even there is no even opposition leader in Burkina Faso. Because what are you opposing? Everything is good. Everything is well. Everything is refined. What are you opposing? Okay? So, those are the kind of leaders we want to hear and we want to have in Africa. The issues of being dictator, you don't want to listen to people. Oppositions are there to correct the government. If you are the government and you don't want to be corrected, for God's sake, you can never lead people because you will always think you are right. Nobody is ever right all the times. A man is to error. Sometimes we make errors, we make mistakes. And when we make mistakes, we need to accept corrections. By the moment we accept corrections, we are able to lead in the right way. So Unfortunately, President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda is not a man who takes corrections. Anybody who tries to correct him, he gets rid of him. Like anybody who tries to say, Mr. President, here you went wrong and here you went wrong and you have to change. He doesn't take that. He doesn't really take that. He is always right. And whatever he says, he's always right. Okay? So Bobi Wine has been arrested many times. And he's saying he's now used to being arrested. But it is not my will that Africa should be led in that way. It is my will that Africa should have that real democracy. Because in Uganda, there is no democracy. As we say always, in Africa, there is no democracy. Even in Uganda, there is no democracy. In Uganda, Museveni will lead that government until the day he will die, maybe. Or the day he will decide himself, now I want to stand down. Because he has led that country for over 40 years and he's still leading that country. And every other time there is an election, but he still wins. People don't like him. People complain about Museveni, but he wins every other time. So if you know, you know. If you don't get it, forget about it. Anyway, do let me know what you have to say in the comment section on this issue. How do you think African leaders should be, and how do you support the issues of dictatorship? Do you think it's right for a leader or a president to be a dictator? What do you think about this issue? Do let me know what you have to say in the comment section. I'll do my best to make sure I'm reading all of them and reply where possible. If it's the first time here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And for the returning subscribers, you guys are great people. Salute you so much. Adios muchachos, my great people. I love you so much.